The last few weeks have not been so good for the reputation of poker, both live and online, with poker pros throwing accusations at each other. It leaves one wondering if the poker world needs to have a global blacklist to get rid of possible scammers and cheaters for good. Even as recently as 40-50 years ago, poker cheating was common, with mechanics manipulating the deck and toe-tapping beneath the table, robbing the fools of their money. When online poker entered the game back in 1997, people said, "Oh, it's crooked, it's a computer game," and they were not far off. With the amount of money in today's games, it's time to start slamming those who try to cheat the system. That can only be accomplished in one way: formal expulsion and acknowledgement of the cheats. The Nevada Gaming Commission has a document known as the Black Book in Las Vegas. It's a little book formally dubbed the Nevada Gaming Control Board List of Excluded Persons because there are only 37 people on it right now. The persons on this list have committed the ultimate sin of attempting to defraud Nevada's casinos. As a result of their inclusion in the Black Book, they are not permitted to visit a Nevada casino or attend any event involving gambling. It's time that poker opens their very own version of the Black Book. Recently, Juha Passanen, the head of integrity at Party Poker, addressed one of the most controversial issues in online poker: whether dishonest players should be placed on a global blacklist. Despite all the benefits that a worldwide blacklist would provide for online poker, Passanen immediately moved the discussion into a brief analysis of why such a blacklist is unlikely to materialize. Passanen also rightly points out that the major roadblock may come from outside the poker industry in the shape of the GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation requirements of the European Union. The GDPR, which was enacted in 2016 and entered into force 2 years later, is a data privacy legislation with lofty aims, albeit it has been a major overreach in practice. The GDPR prohibits EU-based operators from disclosing the names of players who have cheated in online poker in different ways, even if some of those players have been prosecuted. The GDPR may also pose a significant barrier to a website exchanging information about a bad actor with other websites. Such a player may make a GDPR-based claim that he's been targeted by a site that he hasn't done anything wrong against based on illicitly shared data. The expense, effort, and inevitable legal challenges combine to make a global blacklist too daunting for even the most reputable sites to consider. The GDPR isn't the only near impossible barrier to establishing a worldwide online poker blacklist. To be successful, it would need to establish common rules for determining which actions should be subjected to a global ban and which should be subjected to lower penalties. Passanen is aware of this, and he treads very lightly in this area. He writes, "Another challenge that I see could be around setting thresholds regarding what constitutes as serious enough of an offense to lead to a global ban from poker. For example, if you are found to be using real-time assistance or colluding, it's probably an easy decision. But what about offenses such as buttoning or bum hunting? Bum hunting isn't cheating in the same way using RTA is, but it's still against the terms and conditions on some poker sites. While buttoning and bum hunting can't be ignored, I don't think they are serious enough offenses to warrant a global ban. To start with, we'd need to define exactly what constitutes RTA use or bum hunting before we could even think about moving forward. Not only would this have to be aligned with regulators, but we'd need to get the different poker sites involved and aligned as well. Imagine getting a group of dozens of poker sites to agree on a set of standardized criteria that define not just what constitutes cheating, but also what the appropriate penalty should be for each type and quantity of cheating. Then double that by the dozens of gaming jurisdictions that would have to sign off on such a framework in the face of probable legal challenges from enraged players. Passanen also downplays the prospect of websites becoming abusive to one another or unscrupulous in their anti-cheating policies. There is also the possibility of any new system being abused by the poker sites themselves. Hypothetically, a site could state that a player will be globally banned for reasons specific to that site, such as an individual dispute with that player. As such, you would most likely need an independent third-party governing body overseeing and managing all the submitted bans for the system to be realistic. He adds, whilst a governing body could take care of ensuring each ban is legitimate and that there is sufficient evidence documented before any bans to go live, it would still require a lot of resources to be spent just to oversee any bans, especially from poker sites that lack proper tools and personnel to manage game integrity issues. Some sites may be encouraged to ignore cheating forms that are seen to assist a site's own bottom line. This argument occurs in botting, as cheaters operating several bot accounts for lengthy periods of time are also earning rake for the site and hence are more likely to be noticed by a less than scrupulous operator. The bot's earnings, on the other hand, must come from other players who collectively lose at a higher rate. That's a losing equation with fewer depositors in the long run, but many company actions don't always correspond with the long-term thinking. There are a lot of flaws to look at in the live game as well. Some believe the practice of staking has to stop. Horses wind up into slavery if they do not pay their backers on time. We'd also have to stop players transferring shares in the game. There's probably no other motive for chip dumping than a player seeing someone go deep and thinking they can grab a share of them. The game of poker would be greatly improved if these two elements were removed alone. It may be extremely tough to prove infractions in both online and live poker, but if the poker community began entering names in their own black book, the game would undoubtedly be cleaned up. If the possibility of expulsion existed, the poker community would prevent many embarrassments caused by people who are respected in the poker industry. This video is powered by Bluff the Spot, the best place to learn how to win at poker from actual high-stake coaches like MMA Sherdog. Check the link in the description.